Hello, I am Eli J. Brown / Eli J. Brony, and welcome to another Evolution of a Hero Factory hero video. Today we are going to be looking at Natalie Breez, one of the original 6 heroes that debuted in 2010, the only female hero of the entire series ever released as a set. And much like with Surge, she only has gotten 5 versions of herself. At least in set form, anyway. Now, Breez did not appear in the Savage Plant series, much like Surge didn't appear, so we only have 5 versions. So, let's go over those 5 versions, shall we? We will start off, of course, with the original version of Breez. This one, right here. Now, Breez, being the only female hero of this whole series, well, the only thing that looks feminine about her is the mask. I mean, everything else about her just looks the same. She pretty much has the same body design as all the other heroes. Well, not every single hero. I mean, the only other heroes that use the same main body would be Surge and Inferno, as they were all rookies in this first release, this first series. And they all had 2 actual arms, unlike the other heroes who had 1 arm and 1 weapon integrated into an arm. Now, Breez is lime green, which pretty much makes her the new Toa of Air for this series. Now, Breez does carry these wind weapon pieces. One part of it is silver, and the other part, the spin piece, is in a lime green. And she uses a translucent red hero core. This was the only series in which the hero cores would be translucent, because they would use solid colored hero cores for the next series onward. And Breez has an orange Glatorian head underneath her mask. I'll show you that. Yep, right there. So, that is the original version of Breez. And of course she also has black arm and leg pieces. So, now let's go on to the next version of Breez, and that would be 2.0 series Breez. And here she is. Now, this version of Breez does look very different from the original version of Breez, such as far as the appearance of the character goes. Now, Breez does have 2 weapons, just as she did in the first series. She has 1 weapon right here, which has a buzzsaw at the end. And the other weapon right here is the same weapon that was also used on Stormer and Inferno, and also on Surge's weapon, which I showed in the last episode, but didn't mention that this weapon piece was also used on Surge. I remember mentioning in the Stormer episode how it was shared between Stormer and Breez, and I forgot that Stormer and Breez weren't the only heroes, as Inferno also had that piece, and I just now realized that Surge also had that piece. Oh well. Now, Breez is one of the heroes to have, well, in this case, 2 spike pieces. There's one on her lower arm, over here, and one on her upper arm, up here. And like with all the heroes in the 2.0 series, she has this printed armor piece, and it says Breez 2.0. And just like with the original Breez, she does still have red as her secondary color, being in her hero core, and then her headpiece. Now, Breez's visor, well, it's questionable. I mean, there's some people that probably don't think it looks all that feminine, since this is supposed to be a female character. Well, I guess it may look feminine depending on what colors you use. And I guess since this is Breez, well, it might work with the lime green and the red together. Certainly one of the more interesting visors of this series. It has these wings out at the back, as well as this mouth garb, which kind of actually makes her look like a walrus. You know, like these are her tusks. Isn't that kind of funny? So that is Breez 2.0. Now, As I mentioned before, Breez does not appear in the Savage Planet series, so she doesn't get an animal-based helmet or an animal-based weapon. So we are now going over into the Breakout version of Breez, and this is her. Now, in the United States, Breez was delayed for summer 2012 release, but in the rest of the world, she was released at the start of 2012, and I think it was because of some sort of delay, like they could not get the parts needed to produce enough Breez sets to be sent out all around the world, so the United States had to wait until later to get her, along with the villain that she is chasing in this series, which would be Thornrax, the bug-like villain, and she will use these hero cups for it. Now, Breez also contains these jets on her lower leg pieces, which is supposedly used to help her fly into the air, which is quite fitting because she looks like a Toa of Air from Bionicle. Now, Breez does retain having red as a secondary color. She has red bone pieces on her upper legs, and she also has a hexagon printing on her chest. And she also has these huge, round, add-on armor pieces on her shoulders. Now, unlike with all of the other heroes, Breez also gets the original style of feet back, which is quite interesting. And another thing that Breez gets back from the original version of her is her helmet, which is something that also happened with the other heroes that were returning from the first series into Breakout. Now, I did mention before with Furno and Surge that they did not have an actual hand piece be put into this weapon right here. They had this sort of ball cup piece. But for Breez, she actually does have this hand piece. Yep, Breez actually does have a hand inside of this launcher piece. This is not a modification that I've made. This is how LEGO intended for it to be. And Breez also happens to have, well, some white on her, which of course is the first time, and I think also the only time, well, except for one piece on this next version, which should be pretty obvious. The only white on Breez here would be the white hero core, which is also something that all of the heroes in this series have, all of them being white hero cores that each had a code on the back, which you could put in at the online Hero Factory Breakout game, which I don't think is even running anymore. And she also has the white lower arm pieces, which have one pinhole in them, so they are the same pieces that were used for the lower legs of Stormer 2.0. And she has the 5 long size white armor pieces on her upper legs, just like with Furno. And she also is covered on the back, which was quite an issue that some fans have had regarding the, the 2.0 sets, as well as some of the 3.0 sets that were released up to this point. So that is Breez in Breakout form, and now we are going to move on. Well, actually, there are a couple more things to talk about. There's the hexagon shield, and also these blade weapon pieces. Alright, on to the next one now. This next version of Breez is her Brain Attack version, and of course, this time around she isn't delayed for release. She was supposed to get released at the start of 2013, and she was released at the start of 2013 in every country that got these sets. And even more lucky, we even got the second wave of Hero Factory sets for Brain Attack a lot earlier than expected, such as we getting them in May instead of in July like we usually did around that time. Now, Breez in this version is mostly silver this time around. She does get a new helmet piece which retains her original look, but instead of it being lime green, like with the other heroes, well of course with the other heroes it was all their own colors, but for Breez she gets one in silver. And that does look good and bad on both levels. It's bad because, well, I really don't understand why they had to make it be silver instead of lime green. Because the other heroes had it be like that. Did LEGO think that having the green visor would be green enough for us? In my eyes, no, it would not be. But the good side here is that with it being silver, it is really helpful when it comes to mock making. Now Breeze, like with all the heroes, she has the claw clamps on her hero core, and she also has this buzz saw right here, which can also be taken off and put onto her back. I think I mentioned that when I reviewed this set like a couple years ago when they first came out. I'm gonna put that back on. I also gotta get this piece. She's starting to bend forward. She shouldn't, but she's starting to. And she also has what I suppose is a crossbow, which uses these pieces, which we've gotten before, but not in silver. And she also has this gunmetal roundish piece on her shoulder. So that is Brain Attack Series Breeze. And now we are at the very end. We have Minifigure Breeze. Now Minifigure Breeze returns to having the lime green mask piece, just like with the previous versions of Breeze prior to Brain Attack. And while there's not really much to talk about with this one, it's pretty much just the minifigures are all the same. Breeze's weapon is very different from her different releases, such as having this sort of chain in the Flyer Beast set, and also she has a couple different weapons in the Invasion from Below Wave 2 series of sets, and in this case she appears in the Breeze Fleeing Machine. So that is Minifigure Breeze, and much like before, time to do the lineup. Okay, well, here's the lineup with all the Breezes that we have gotten from 2010 to 2014, and, well, it's certainly interesting how you will notice that there have been cases where Breeze would gain height and then lose it. I mean, in the 2.0 series, she gained height. In the Breakout series, she once again gained height. But in the Brain Attack series, she lost height, because Brain Attack Breeze is shorter than Breakout Breeze. So what is up with that? And of course the minifigure is obviously small, but that's just because that goes on a smaller scale. So that is every version of Breeze that was released in Hero Factory from 2010 to 2014. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.